Yeah, so thank you for coming to hear about our exciting program, Industrial and Systems Engineering. My name is Peng, and I'm currently the Deputy Head taking care of this undergraduate program. And so what I'm going to do today is to give you a very brief summary of what our program is about and what it actually can help to do. Okay, but I think it's good to at least give you some history about our department. As you can see that our department, Industrial and Systems Engineering and Management, right, where the BEng Industrial and Systems Engineering is hosted by this program, is actually established in 1972. So it's quite a long time. I think if you look at 1972 to now, it will be close to about 40 years. Yeah. And it was actually started under the sponsorship of the Ford Foundation. And actually, in our department, right, the MSc program that we started in, called the Industrial and Systems Engineering, is a flagship program that has actually started in 38 years, and it's actually the first in engineering that we in Singapore that we offer this Masters of Science program. The BEng program was launched in 2001, where we have the first batch of graduated in 2005. Sorry, I forgot to share the screen. Then for our BEng Iec program, it is accredited by the Engineering Accreditation Board of Singapore, which is actually a signatory of the Washington Accord. So what it means is that for those countries that are member of this Washington Accord, once our program is accredited by our local board, it will be recognized by the members of this Washington Accord, where of course we have a lot of our developed countries that are actually involved in this Washington Accord, like US, as well as Japan, England, and those countries as well. Then our department do offer a comprehensive education program ranging from undergraduate program, the BTech program for part-time students, in IME, which is Industrial Management and Engineering, as well as BTech in SCM, which is Supply Chain Management. As mentioned, we also offer Master of Science in ISE, Master of Science in SCM, Master of Science in Maritime Technology and Management, which will be offered, which should be first time offered this coming August, MEng and PhD program as well. So we have qualified staff coming from reputable universities that is actually supporting all these programs. Okay, I'm sure many of you have already gone through some of the briefing in the earlier weeks or even past months. So just to give you a recap of what is our program about our curriculum. So you can see that from this picture, right, you all will be fortunate to actually enter into this new curriculum structure that will be effective coming this August 2021. So under this curriculum structure, to graduate with a BEng degree, you need to complete at least 40 modules, but of course you must meet the requirement. Okay, and out of these 40 modules, right, 15 modules comes from the common curriculum. As you can see, in the common curriculum, there are two parts. One is called the NUS General Education, and the other one is the common curriculum that is for all engineering students that is coming this August. So in the general education modules, the purpose is to develop you for social adaptability, provide you with 21st century competencies such as technology and data driver world, and social responsibility and empathy through community engagement. Okay, so that is the purpose of this general education. Whereas for the remaining common modules, which is about 9 modules, this will actually equip you with interdisciplinary skills needed for future-ready graduates in engineering. Then we also have about 15 modules, okay, and this is the major requirement that you need to have in order for you to be able to graduate with a degree in Industrial and Systems Engineering. And in addition to this, you have another 10 modules that is what you call unrestricted elective, which you can actually take any modules anywhere, okay, from arts, from the College of Humanity and Science, and anything that you are able to take, all right? But of course, we would like to recommend you to use these 10 modules of unrestricted elective wisely, in the sense that you could actually get a second major, which you do not need to have extra credits or need to take extra credits to graduate. Or if you don't want to take a second major, you could take a combination of minor and specialization. So these are something that is very exciting, which we can offer to you so that you can be more broad-based, not just delve into one discipline alone, but you can also be well-versed with another discipline as well, so that to make you all more marketable and prepare you for the future market. Okay, so this is generally what the BEng curriculum covers. So essentially, if you understand, maybe from some of you who have attended the course previously or our talk previously, is that Iec centers around solving real problems and optimizing existing solutions through a systematic approach backed by data, science, and experience. So in simple terms, it means trying to figure out how to do things better. So we are trying to train engineers to solve problems, to how to come up with approaches that is able to solve the problems or help the organization to be able to be more productive, reduce waste, or cut costs in a more effective way. But because today's organization structure are large and complex systems, consisting of many subsystems interacting with one another, then it's no longer easy to make good decisions by just using intuition or common sense. So to provide a scientific and systematic way to address these challenges, so Iec combines the physical and social sciences together with engineering principles to improve these processes and systems. So this is the kind of knowledge that we are trying to equip you with. And from there, and how do we try to equip you with this knowledge is that based on the categories that we are having these modules to, we believe that this will be able to help you to be an industrial engineer with the kind of right skill set to be able to address these challenges. So if you look into here, okay, we can actually split the modules into 5 categories. One on data analytics, which covers areas like probability and statistics and machine learning. So essentially on how to analyze data and coming out with recognition of patterns and trends. In addition, we also have modules that looks into prescriptive analytics or optimization techniques, that is how to apply mathematics to business operations and finding the best possible alternative given the constraints faced. Because of course, in the world today, right, we are always faced with scarce resources, or we don't have enough. And so given the scarce resources, the question is how do we allocate the resources effectively to be able to meet our goal or objective. And then the third one is that we also introduce you or expose you to systems engineering applications to important domain areas like supply chain, manufacturing, healthcare, and transportation. And we also have modules that covers management and innovation, which I think is important. Like for example, project management is important, and also some of the innovation modules that will help you to be more creative when it comes to setting up businesses and things like that. And computing as well, okay? Because computing nowadays is getting very important. Even engineering would require to know some computing to be able to carry out the task. In addition, all right, we are also going to propose 2 areas of specializations, which will allow you to dive deeper into very important areas in Iec, which are important to Singapore and the global world. So for example, in supply chain analytics, right? Why this is important? Because as you know, supply chain and logistics is an important area in Singapore and also globally. This area has been identified by Singapore government as one of the important contributors to Singapore economy for many years to come. So one of the key challenges is to digitally transform the business in this sector, and this actually opens up many opportunities to Iec graduates. The other second specialization is in the area of data-driven analytics. And with the availability of data and fast computing and IoT technologies, so data-driven approach enables companies to use data to help achieve their goal of better serving their customers or improve the organizational processes. So data-driven analytics is not just analyzing data, okay, providing information what is happening and identifying trends and patterns. It goes beyond that on how to use the data to make optimal decisions. And in this specialization, we will introduce optimization methodologies and modeling techniques to equip you with these skills. Okay, because of time constraint, I will just give you some key highlights of the BEng program. Okay, the first one is we have modules on engineering principles and practice. So essentially for these modules, why we want to introduce these modules and why this is very exciting is because first, for these modules, we want to engage and expose you to equip you with some of the important engineering principles and system thinking approach to address industrial and systems engineering problem. So why is this important? Because we want to raise your curiosity and passion to industrial and systems engineering problem. So in the past, if you look at the old curriculum, maybe a few years back, right, it used to be, it's very rigid, where we go bottom up, where we started off with very fundamental science and math courses for you to take to strengthen your foundation. And then after that, only in the later years, you are exposed to industrial and systems engineering problem. And by doing that, actually, in the first 2 years, the students will be a bit lost as to what is industrial and system engineering, what are they supposed to do, and also in caring and trying to know exactly how this discipline can actually be relevant to the industry. And so that's the reason why we actually introduced this module to actually help you, okay, or to expose to you what is this industrial and system engineering disciplines all about, what type of problems that they solve. And so this is to actually enthuse you and to create passion for you to take this course when you go through the first, second, third, and fourth year. And essentially, it's also to help to expose you to early problems motivated by real problems and examples. And this class is implemented on studio-based learning or computer laboratory blended with experiment that students would plan and conduct to deepen the learning. So maybe I can pass to Chin Hong, okay, to be able to explain, to give you some example of how he teaches course. That will be, will at least be able to let you understand what is happening in this class. So Chin Hong, maybe I can pass to you.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. And so, yeah, thanks.
Chin Hong, you speak a bit louder.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I forgot to bring down my mic. Thanks, Prof. Chu. Okay, so yeah, as mentioned by Prof. Chu, when I was told to teach this class, I was told that we should introduce students to problems in industrial engineering, and that it should be sort of like a studio-based learning, activity-based learning over there. And so that's the approach that I took in teaching this class over here. And so basically, let me just give you a quick example of the problem that we look at. So like, for example, in one of the classes, I will divide the students into groups. And then within each group, they are going to be looking at a problem over there. So rather than the typical traditional way of teaching where we teach you some math, some theory, and then show you how to apply it to a problem, we go the reverse, which means we go by problem first. So first we get you thinking about a problem, let you discuss together with your group mates over there. So for example, the problem that I have over here is that, let's say I have 12 cities and 12 farms over here, and I need the cities to supply to the farms. And so what is going to happen over here is that there are going to be many ways that you can do it, but we want to find the most cost efficient way over here. And the transport costs between the cities and the farms are going to be different. And so depending on how you do the assignment, the total cost is going to be different over there. And so in the class, what we'll do is that first, as mentioned, you're going to tackle the problem together with your group mates. And then later on, we will come together as a class to discuss what are the different strategies the different groups have used to approach them. And then finally, once we have gained insight into this problem following our discussion, then we will talk about what are some of the ISE methodologies that can be applied to go about to solve this problem over here. And the second focus of this class as well is that we want to make things application focused. And so it's not just a matter of solving the problem, but at the same time that you can implement it for companies over there. And so, in fact, what one of your seniors has done is that your senior has actually implemented this as a has implemented this problem as, give me a minute now, as essentially a web application over here. And so if you can see over here, this is exactly the same problem, but essentially what I do is, let's say I send 100 items from farm 1 to city A, then essentially because each item costs $27, the total cost is updated over here. So the idea over here is not just a matter of solving the problem, but if you are able to implement it as a tool in this manner, then it'll be very easy for companies to go about to use it over there. Okay, and so but of course, for a year one module, we're not going to be teaching HTML and so on. And in fact, for your senior who did this, essentially the HTML and the JavaScript, she just kind of picked it up by herself. But for our class over here, we're going to start with something simple, which is Excel. But this is then going to give you a good foundation in terms of how to build this type of decision support system and a quick introduction to some very basic programming. Okay, so the time is short. I don't want to take up too much time, but in a nutshell, I hope I've given you a flavor as to what we are doing in EPP, where we go with an activity-based type of learning, and at the same time, we create this type of mini projects that companies are going to find valuable in. Okay, so Prof. Chu, perhaps I hand the time back over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you for presenting this course. So I hope that you will find that this is a quite interesting course. So let me go back to my slide to share. Okay, so the second highlights of this curriculum is what you call the integrated project, where we have we call this integrated project under ISC as a systems design project. So essentially, in a systems design project, this is where the students are exposed to real industry problem. So what it means is that we actually form a team of students to actually go to a company where they will actually solve the problems that the company wanted the student to solve. So they have a real problem in hand and they wanted a solution or recommendation. And this is where the team of students will apply the knowledge that they learn from their classes to the real industry setting to present their solutions and recommendation. So from this one, right, I think this is one of the best module is because there are many things that students are not able to learn in the classroom setting, but through interacting with industry, they can actually get what you call intangible attributes through teamwork and managing their customer expectation, resolving conflict, and if something doesn't work out well, then what should we do? And there's so many challenges that the student can learn. And so this is something that is very interesting. And you can see that the projects that we have with companies vary. You see, it's not only in manufacturing, typical manufacturing environment. It can also extend to logistics and transport, healthcare, and especially in technology companies like Shopee. So these are some of the projects that we just want to show to you to let you know that the projects with companies are real. They want the team of students to actually address a problem, either to come up with a recommendation or to maybe even build a decision support system which have dashboard that can actually help them to visualize or to even solve their problems at hand. So this is a very interesting project that you all will be able to have opportunity to participate and to learn. So this is a 2-semester project. In addition, we also have industrial attachment program, which is compulsory. So again, why this is important is because we also want students to be able to experience what it means to be an employee of a company, and what are the things that the students will will experience through like an employee. For example, must be able to communicate well with their peers, able to articulate, ideas and come into discussion and experience what the daily working life that they are going through. So this is very important, and it's about 20 weeks in a company. It provides you a good industry training, definitely expose you to real working environment, and also provide opportunity for future employment. So of course, if you do very well with the company and you like the company, and the company and the manager likes you, then obviously there's always an opportunity that they might want you to come into the company because you have that talent. Then we also have another module which is called the BEng dissertation. So in this particular module, it will expose you to research. So essentially to try to address what you call the lifelong learning or independent learning. And so this is where you will be assigned to an individual mentor or a project supervisor. So it can be one, it could be two supervisors supervising you. So it's a very resource-intensive kind of module, but I think it's worth it for you all because here we want to make sure that you're able to have a good learning experience to be able to eventually graduate out and be able to do independent learning. And this is what this BEng dissertation is all about. Then of course, you can also participate in many other special programs, and this is where you can either use your unrestricted elective modules to do that. For example, we have a double degree programs with NUS, such as economics and management. We also have a double degree program with French universities, double major programs, minor programs, university scholar programs, which some of you, I believe, have been already offered this program. You can also participate in NUS overseas colleges, which is, it can be either 6 months or 1 year, where for those of you who are interested to be an entrepreneur in the future or work in a startup company or want to come out a startup company, this particular program will definitely suit you very well. And of course, we also have what I call student exchange program. Unfortunately, over the last year, students are not able to actually go into the exchange program because of the pandemic. But hopefully, things will be better through vaccinations that is coming out. Hopefully, things can be normal, and then you are able to actually go to an exchange program overseas. And also, we also have what you call the NUS Georgia Tech Special Term Program. And this particular program is actually a program that we have directly, our department have directly with Georgia Institute of Technology, which is one of the top, which is actually the top industrial engineering school in US. So what happened is that the Georgia Tech will actually bring their students to Singapore and to Beijing, and not to Beijing, to Singapore and China. And then what happened is that NUS students can actually join this program and take courses together with them. And so here is that if you don't have the time to afford a long student exchange program, this will be also an opportunity for you to have a shorter version. This is about I think, let me see, about 12 weeks, right? 12 weeks in the summer, where 6 weeks will be in Singapore and 6 weeks will be in China. And so over here, you can actually have opportunity to mix with the Georgia Tech students and get to have a network with them besides the academic activities. Okay, for the minor, double degree and major, double major. So essentially, as just now I showed you in the earlier slide, is that from the 10 modules or 40 MCs of elective, unrestricted elective, you could actually take double major or minor without having to actually take extra credit to graduate. And usually the kind of double major that we would suggest to be in this particular area. Okay, in artificial intelligence, computer science, data engineering, and economics, information security. So these are the major or minor that we would actually recommend you to take because it actually complements very well with the industrial and systems engineering discipline. Okay, so before I end this slide, I just want to show you some of the initiative our department or my department have in the digital transformation projects. So I'm sure some of you have heard that Singapore is building a new port in Tuas, located at the western part of Singapore. And this is a mega project where all the container ports activities will be moved to Tuas in 2040. So in this new port, it will be the largest port in the world, as it will be able to handle about 65 million TEUs. So you can see that currently all the container terminals are actually located in the middle part of Singapore, but eventually by 2040, all these activities will be moved to this Tuas terminal here. And you can see this is a very big mega project. So an important innovative in this port is that it will be fully automated port using the latest state-of-the-art equipment and assets. And there will be a lot of digital technologies used to manage and control the port. So my department have actually received a very large research grant, about $12 million, to help the maritime industry to digitalize the process. So I would like to share some of the projects we have worked relating to the maritime space and also in the supply chain area. Okay, for example, if you can see this particular diagram. So this project is actually on designing the right layout of the port that is able to handle the right required throughput. So for example, in one particular finger, if you notice here, we have 4 fingers here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So we're looking into one particular finger here. And in this particular finger, right, you want to find out the right design or the right layout of the port that is able to handle the required throughput. So you can see we developed a digital twin model which includes details of the equipment and their dynamics and how they interact with one another. So in the diagram, you can see some of the things are moving, right? I mean, so those are actually the equipment that's moving, interacting with the vehicles. And so it's trying to capture the dynamics of how all these systems are interacting with one another, or the assets are interacting with one another. And based on the layout, design, and the dynamics of equipment and the interaction with one another, we then can actually evaluate whether this design is able to meet the throughput. So some of the key points that I want to share about this project is that by using digital twin, which we have developed, right, we can still evaluate the capability of the port, even though the actual physical port system have not been built yet. Definitely have not been built yet because currently the port, the area is still under reclamation. And some of the fuel berth will only be ready by mid of this year. So, and secondly is that this terminal is one of the 4 fingers in the Tuas port. And the size of the port, this size of the dimension of this port, right, is about 4.4 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So you can see that we are developing a digital technology that can deal with large and complex systems and provide solutions or recommendations. And the third one is one of the concepts of this digital twin we use. It's called the discrete event simulation. So it's a module that you will learn in this discipline. So we will have a module called simulation. And this is one of the examples that show that the skills that you learn can be applied to real world problems. Okay, so essentially that's what I want to show you about this project. Then of course we have, we have also other projects that we are still we are working with our industry partners. And for this slide, right, you can see that we have a project that looks into the traffic of the automated guided vehicles. You know, we also have an inter-terminal traffic. You know that the containers going to move between Pasir Panjang and Tuas. So you see there's a bit of modeling here. We also look at the storage yard strategy allocation, where you place a container to which position in the yard. We also have the innovative port layout design, which just now I showed to you one of them. And also, we also have the vessel collision avoidance to try to avoid collision between vessels. So in particular, I want to share with you on one of the projects, which is actually on the vessel collision avoidance project. So in this project, right, we are building a decision support tool for captains and pilots to provide them with greater situational awareness when navigating the vessels and alerting them when there is a potential collision. So how do we do that? So we collect historical data of vessel movements over some periods. As the movement of these vessels may have some consistent pattern. So we can learn this behavior using machine learning. And once we capture this behavior, we will be able to predict the movement of the vessel. And beyond that, we also develop a model to provide the vessel a recommendation path to prevent this collision. So for this project, the key points that I want to highlight is that one, we deal with big data to learn the behavior of the vessels. Two, we develop data-driven models, not only to predict the vessel movement, but also an optimization model, okay, to provide a vessel a recommended path if a potential collision is detected. So this is some of the real projects that we are working on, just to share with you what we are currently doing. Of course, we also have another project that also we have got about $10 million. And this is have to do with supply chain, especially designing distribution center layout and operations. So again, here we also work with real industry partners to develop digital twin, for example, to manage their manpower. What would be the right amount of manpower to have to manage such a complex systems like this? Okay, with this, I will end my slide, and these are the information that you can actually send to us if you need any feedback or questions that you want to raise, and you can actually put your question in this email.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Chu, for the sharing of the curriculum and also some of the projects that our department are involved in. And indeed, I hope the takeaway message that you can see from here is that you probably know that Singapore has a very big port, one of the biggest port in the world, depending on how you kind of measure. But by any measures, we're one of the biggest port in the world over there. And when companies have complicated systems and they need people to help them manage it, we are the people who actually are the ones to do the job over there. Okay, so without further ado, let me just hand the time now over to Darren. Darren is actually our second year student. He has just finished his second year over here. And Darren has stayed in the residential hall as well. And so I think Darren will be in the best position to talk a bit about student life in NUS and also as an ISE student. So Darren, let me hand the time over to you.
Yes, sure. Thanks a lot. So let me share screen. So hi, good morning, everyone. So I would like to share a bit about my perspective as a student, undergrad student taking ISE. So I'm a second year undergraduate pursuing ISE with a minor in statistics. Like what Prof. Tan said, I'm also a resident at Residential College 4, which is one of the residential colleges in UTown. So if you ask me, like from the very beginning, why did I choose ISE? I find myself loving and intrigued to find the best approach to solving problems. And to put this more concretely, yet simply, it's about when you are presented a solution to a problem, like an SOP, a standard operating procedure. I think a good intuition would be that you'll start to question whether is this really the best way to do things here? And by best, it sounds a bit subjective right now, but I feel that let's say in a warehouse setting, the metric of best is determined by the industrial engineer, and it can be in the terms of having the lowest cost, or having the highest production yield, or even the shortest lead time, or even a combination of these metrics to form your best approach that the industrial engineer has to decide that best suits the interest of the company. So in essence, what I think what I want to share from this slide is that if you find yourself loving to solve problems and have a strong mathematical and statistical background, ISE might actually be the course that is really suitable for you, and you may be very interested in it. So a bit more about my campus life. So when I first matriculated, there's all these camps that goes on. So this is the opportunity where you get to meet your batchmates and seniors, whom you forge friendships and actually work with them in projects when you do modules in NUS. And then in RC4, there's a lot of house events that goes on where you can interact with your housemates, with your fellow residents, and meet people from different courses and different walks of life. In RC4, the culture there is that you don't have to be really excellent in the sport that you play. So we have all these inter-house games and inter-college games where you actually can be inexperienced in the sport, but someone will be there to guide you along, to teach you about the rules and about the rules of the games. So for me, I was totally new to Ultimate Frisbee, but I was given a chance to play for the inter-house games, and actually the main purpose is really to have fun along the process. So even more recently, there was a ISE CIP event where we head out to Queenstown and then we help the elderly buy their groceries. So I guess this is also a time where you can actually meet your batch mates and your course mates and to meet people to mingle and make friends. So while there's a lot of events that goes on in campus, I think more realistically, I want to say that there's also a lot of homework, submissions, assignments, and projects. And you may actually find yourself spending proportionally more time doing such things. And it really depends on what is your focus and what you want to bring up in your campus life. So I guess from this slide, I want to say, when you come to college, you dictate and design how you want your college life to be. You decide on your priorities, be it having good grades, social life, extracurriculars, CCAs, or even having enough sleep. So I guess you have to decide what you want to get out of these 3 to 4 years in NUS and hopefully not regret on that decision. So due to the interest in time, I guess at that stage, there's a lot of questions that you don't know what you don't know. So I've laid out a few questions here, and if you're interested, do feel free to reach out later so that I can answer them. So for example, you might be curious to know why I chose to study a minor in statistics, or why a minor even. Or if you're interested in the engineering scholars program, feel free to reach out to me because if you're interested in how the curriculum changes to suit the needs of the program. For RC4, in residential colleges, there's also a huge curriculum change due to that replaces the general education that required by NUS. So if you're interested in residential stay and the academic changes, feel free to reach out to me as well. So with that, thank you. If you want to read more about ISE and engineering modules from a student's perspective, I've actually written a blog to document what I learn on a week-to-week basis, like what is the lecture content and my feedback and thoughts about these modules. Yeah, I have written a website there. Feel free to head down there to check it out. Yes, so with that, I think I'll end my sharing and I'll pass the time back to Prof. Tan.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks, Darren, for the sharing over there. And yes, if you're interested to find out our modules, Darren has the blog over there where he has penned down his thoughts on the different modules. So that will be a good place to check them out as well. So thanks, Darren, for sharing your various experiences over there. And if you want to talk to him later on, there'll be time during the breakout session where you will be able to ask him some of those questions that he's listed or any other questions that you have on your mind. As mentioned by Darren just now, that one thing that will get you started on your NUS journey is going to be the freshman orientation. And so today we're very happy also that we have Caleb. Caleb is from our student club, and he's actually the project director for this year's freshman orientation program. And so let me hand the time over to Caleb to talk a bit more about sort of like the ISE club's activity and also student life in ISE in general. Caleb, over to you.
Yep, thank you, Prof. Tan. So, hi everyone. So my name is Caleb. I'm a first year student in Industrial and Systems Engineering. So today I'm here to provide you guys with a glimpse into both the ISE student life as well as some of the activities that ISE Club actually plans for the wider ISE cohort. So first, what is ISE Club? So ISE Club is basically, to put it simply, we are a group of ISE students that actually plans events with the interest of the wider ISE cohort in mind. So some of the events that we actually plan, for instance, one example of one of the events would be ISE Day. So ISE Day typically is usually held in the first semester of the academic year. This ISE Day usually consists mainly of senior sharings and industry talks. So the senior sharings actually allow ISE juniors to hear more about their seniors' ISE experience and serve as a platform for juniors and seniors to network, while the industry talks held during ISE Day aim to keep current ISE students up to date with the various career opportunities available to them out there. So besides ISE Day, ISE Club also organizes ISE welfare giveaway. So this event is usually organized closer towards the end of both semester 1 and semester 2, and it aims to provide much needed treats to our current ISE students to motivate them in their preparation for their final examinations. So another key event organized by ISE Club is Iec Special Events. So this event is actually organized with the key purpose of bringing the wider ISE cohort together and to provide them with an opportunity for them to bond. So in light of last year's COVID situation where we couldn't actually meet up physically, ISE Club actually organized an event in collaboration with Taste Buds, which actually allowed ISE students to meet up in small groups for a meal so that they could get to know other seniors and juniors as well in their cohort. So as previously mentioned by Darren, ISE CIP committee also organizes CIP events, usually during the winter or summer break, which provides ISE students with the opportunity to give back to the wider community. So in semester 2, ISE night cycling is also organized as a to allow ISE students to be able to come together, let down their hair, and just relax, usually after the final examinations. So in addition to the previously mentioned events, ISE Club also organizes the Business Analytics Case Competition, which is a competition that is open to both the pre-university as well as the university level. So in this competition, it actually challenges the participants to come up with solutions to real-world problems. So this year's BACC will be held on the 12th and the 26th of June. And the final event of the academic year will be the IC Club Freshman Orientation Camp. So due to the current COVID situation, it is likely that this year's FOC will also be held online. So currently the date set for the FOC is on the 28th of June, and the sign-up link will be sent out soon. So do look out for it and sign up. So despite being held online, we have actually planned an interesting lineup of activities and events to welcome all our new freshmen to the ISE family. So yeah, so with that, more or less conclude my sharing. If you would like to keep up to date with the events organized that ISE Club actually organizes, so do feel free to follow our club Instagram as well as Facebook account. So with that, I think I'll pass the time back to Prof. Tan.
Okay, thanks, Caleb. And so with that, we have come to the end of our sharing. And so the next portion is where we are going to go into our breakout sessions over there. And so in our breakout session, this is where we will answer some of the questions that you guys have asked, and also a chance for you to interact with our faculty and also our student club. And so essentially, I have just opened up a breakout room over here. And so for those who are interested to just continue to talk to our professors, you can just stay in this main room. And what is going to happen is that the ISE club and our students are going to go into the breakout room as well. And so if you wish to interact with our students, then just head over to the breakout room over there, and then you would be able to interact with them. Yeah, and thanks, Michael, for highlighting the social media links of our ISE club. And so just keep in mind, if you want information regarding the freshman orientation, just keep these links in mind, and then updated information on the orientation will be posted over there. Okay, so now let's just give a bit of time for those of you who wish to interact with our students. You can head over to the student breakout room over there. Whereas for those of you who wish to, who have questions for the professors, you can just stay in this room. Okay, and meanwhile, let me just continue on over here. And so during the registration, we have received quite a few questions. And so the questions are actually listed out over here. And so what we are going to do is we are going to very quickly just run through these questions. And then at the end of it, we will be happy to take any other questions that you have over there. And so as we are sharing these questions, feel free to just type in any other questions that you have onto the chat box, and then we will answer them as and when they come up over here. Okay, and so while some of the participants are joining the Students Club, I think we can begin our session over here. So once again, just to highlight, in case you just joined us, today we are very happy that our acting head of department, Professor Ng Su Hui, and also our deputy head of undergraduate program, Prof. Peng, together with us. And so my name is Dr. Tan Chin Hon. I'm in charge of the outreach for our department. And so the three of us and Mr. Stephen Chia, who is taking charge of our undergraduate matters, is also with us here today. So we'll be very happy to answer any questions that you have. And so first, let us begin with some of these questions over here. The first question that we have over here is ISE mainly about math and physics? And so perhaps for this question, we can pass it to Prof. Chu to take it. Prof.
Yeah.
Chu, I hand this question over to you.
Okay. Yeah, for this question, right? So yeah, you're asking whether ISE discipline is all about mathematics and physics. So if you recall the earlier slides that I showed to you, right, that in our curriculum, you can actually break down into 5 different categories. And of course, if you look at this category, it's data analytics, prescriptive analytics or optimization techniques, systems engineering with application to important domain areas, management, innovation, and computing. So from there, you can see that actually mathematics is not the only things that we teach in this curriculum. And physics, of course, is definitely not one of them. But of course, because we are engineering degree, you are getting an engineering degree, eventually at least some fundamental physics will be required at least in your first year. After that, physics is no longer a necessary knowledge for ISE degree. So generally, if you come to understand what ISE degree is about, right, actually it's trying to apply mathematics, right, actually in the area of operations, research, and management science to how to answer business questions. So actually it applies mathematics to answer business questions. So, but then this kind of math that we actually introduce to you is not just doing math, but it's also having what you call some important modeling skills that you are requiring to do. Okay, so modeling skills to be able to look at the real problem and how we could actually transform this problem into some mathematical form. So this is where the skill comes in, and also using operations research techniques and management techniques to do the optimization is important. But besides that, we also do cover or expose you to management areas like project management, and also in areas of cost management and innovation management, and also in systems engineering, where we cover areas like supply chain, manufacturing, healthcare, transportation. That is actually needed for you to understand what is the domain space about, and what are the problems they're facing, and what are the models that can be used to actually solve the problem. So it's not just purely mathematics, if that is what you're asking.
Okay, thanks, Prof. Chu, for the response over there. And then we have a second question over here, which is that what are the differences between data science and ISE? And in fact, I think for this question, you can even think more broadly, right? What is the difference between, let's say, a scientist and an engineer over there? I think the main difference between a scientist and an engineer is that for engineers, we are interested in the application of this scientific knowledge in terms of creating things that are going to work and to make the world a better place over there. And so I think Prof. Chu just now has also talk a bit about sort of like how the mathematics that we do in this course is going to be tailored in terms of how we can apply them. So the same thing would actually apply in terms of the computer science and also the data science knowledge as well. So you do have to take statistics, but then we are looking at the applied statistics. You do have to take programming, but we're also looking at just the programming to get you started over there. And I think Prof. Chu just now has also mentioned that in our course, we're going to cover other aspects like things like cost analysis and so on, which are going to be very important for you to be making business decisions. And so these are the topics that would not traditionally be required under the data science over there. So, so Prof. Chu, I think I just took a shot at the second question. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, good. I think you have answered most of it, but I also want to mention is that just now I mentioned that there are 5 categories. Right? So one of them is we also do train you all into the area of systems engineering, where you talk about system thinking and looking into domain spaces like supply chain and healthcare and manufacturing and logistics industry. And so these are actually important, because at the end of the day, when you go out to work, right, many of this industry like manufacturing, logistics, healthcare systems, oil and gas industry, you will be able to actually go into this area. And also especially in mentioned business consulting for business process re-engineering is something that a lot of our graduates are really interested in doing. So this is something that actually data science will not be able to offer. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, data scientists cannot do the kind of jobs that I mentioned above, you know. So essentially, as engineers, we can understand better the problem that they are facing and devise solutions to address the problem. But data scientists would require guidance from engineers to understand the problem and devise a solution. So data scientists will know about very strongly grounded with statistics, probability, machine learning, and all this kind of thing. But then when they come to trying to apply this to a problem, they will definitely need to understand what the problem is about. And this is where our advantages is as a system engineer.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Chu, for the add-on over there. And so next, I wish to just jump to question 5 first. We'll get back to 3 and 4 later on. And so I thought this is a good question to think about, right? What kind of attributes does a good ISE student actually possess over there? And so so for this one, could I pass it over to Prof. Ng over there to give us her thoughts on what makes a good ISE student?
Sure. Thanks, Shin Han. Maybe I can, just give quick short answer based on what the other students have already shared. So for me, I would think that the most important attribute is a curious and an analytical mind. For a good ISE student. And then maybe I can take the next question. How would we determine if we are suited for the course? So as our student Darren has shared, if you have a knack for sussing out problems, even problems in your daily life, and taking an analytical approach to solving them, that is like solving problems with a good, strong quantitative approach. So if you enjoy math, if you enjoy observing and modeling systems or processes that you observe, and thinking of ways to improve these processes, I believe you'll do very well in our course. So that's my take on this question.
Thanks, Prof. Ng, for your thoughts on that. And let's go back to questions 3 and 4, because these are questions that we get actually from quite a lot of our students as well, which I think will be good for Prof. Chu to answer. And so for question 3, which is how can we prepare before we enter ISE? And then what are some of the good topics to study up on before matriculating into the course?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. So I think I have a few modules where you could actually try to prepare yourself, especially if during your A levels, or when some of you are not in your A level, you could be poly students, So of course, you can see that for Iec, the fundamental discipline is mathematics. And so generally, if you feel rusty, after serving national service, or if you have not actually when you are disappointed in your math grades, right? So I think this is something that you should try to pick up on in the mathematics area. And also those of you who are planning to go into our program, I think going into programming will also help you a lot, especially if the language you're going to use is Python. And I think this is an emerging language that is getting very popular with industries. And so trying to catch up with Python will also be very useful to help you to prepare to enter into the course. And also, of course, as I mentioned to you, physics is still a requirement. And so hopefully, if you're already rusty in your physics, try to also beef up on your physics knowledge as well. Ken, I think these are the fundamental courses I think you should prepare yourself before coming into NUS, engineering.
Yeah, thanks, Prof. Chu, for the thoughts on that. And at the same time, you can talk to our students, and also especially during the freshman orientation, that'll be a good chance for you to hear from our students over there. Especially for the guys who just came out from NS, you can hear from your seniors as to how much catching up we need to do after those 2 years of running in the jungle. But and on the point on the programming, I thought that was a good point. One thing I wish to highlight is essentially that these days there are a lot of these online tutorials for all this programming. As mentioned just now, one of your seniors, she was actually the TA for my class as well. So that's why she worked on this thing, where she converted it into an online tool that the students can use to work on the examples. So she have background in programming, because as an ISE student, there are some programming classes that you need to take. But then basically, given her background, she can easily just pick up JavaScript just based off the internet over there. So I think once you have the foundation, it is easy to pick up. And in fact, these days, there are a lot of these tutorials for beginners as well, which means that they don't assume that you have any basic background. And so you can just check out all these YouTube videos, and they're going to be very helpful over there. And so I think that's where for ISE program, we are not teaching you in terms of like how to use Python, but we are teaching you the foundation over there. And once your foundation is strong, you will be able to pick up all these skills, because these things come and go. When I was when I first learned programming, they were talking about Pascal. Then they talk about C. Then during my undergrad days, they talk about Java. And then now we move on to Python. So the programming languages change, but the fundamentals actually always remain the same over there. Okay, so so that's some thoughts from my end. And then we have another questions over here, which is there a huge amount of group projects to be expected in this course? And so I guess the question over here is it going to, are projects a good thing or a bad thing? So later on, we'll hand this over to Prof. Chu to about whether there's a huge amount of projects to be expected in this course. But I would say that one thing, if you probably have visited our website, is that our graduates are actually well liked by employers. And so our graduate employment statistics are usually very good. And I would say that one key aspect of this is because of the project works that they do. Because it is through projects that you actually demonstrate the value that you can bring to organizations. Through projects, you have a tangible outcome that you can show people. And at the same time, by working on projects, you work together with people. And sometimes it's not always easy to work together with people. And so employers recognize that if you are able to work together as a group in order to achieve something, then that is going to be very valuable as well. And the other aspect, when I teach my EPP class, why do I divide our students into groups, is because if you just think about a problem by yourself, very easy you have a tunnel vision, because that's how you see it. But when you talk to other people, that's where you realize that there could be other perspectives, and it's going to help you get a better insight into that problem over there. Yeah, so those are some of my thoughts. Prof. Chu, maybe you have any thoughts on the amount of group projects that we have in our course? And maybe I would also then hand over sort of like the second majors and minors that are potentially recommended to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ching Hong. So I think for this question 2, I already have answered during my presentation already. I gave given you the slide, so no need to present again unless if you want me to present again. But for number 1, right, I believe for ISC curriculum, many of the courses are already embedded with projects. I mean, besides the system design project that we have, and also the final year project that we offer to students, even in those courses, which is usually lecture-based system, there is a lot of project contents involving in. And so some of the projects are maybe classroom design, but there are also courses where projects are actually based on real problems motivated by, problems motivated by real world problems. And some projects require students to actually go out to actually come up with problems which are real. So, like for example, like what Ching Hong mentioned, EPP1, engineering principle and practice, and practice 1, engineering principle and practice 2 are all project courses. We have one course simulation, which is also a project course where students are supposed to do a project using real problems. And then they use a simulation model to try to model that problem. So this is some of the examples that I want to give to you. But actually, in a lot of our modules that we have, there is always what I call a mini projects that's embedded into it. So I'm not sure whether it's a good thing or bad thing, but I think generally exposing you all to do projects definitely will actually sharpen your skills, especially to be able to analyze the problem deeper, because most of the projects are maybe open-ended problem, and so you have to try to see how you're able to go and solve the problem given the kind of training that you have in these courses to apply to this. So it can be challenging, but it can also be very interesting, and actually helps you to actually develop your industrial engineering skills to be able to prepare you for the real world when you graduate out. Ken?
Thanks, Prof. Chu. And then, so like a quick reminder over here that if you have any other questions, feel free to just type them into the chat, and then we'll be happy to answer them after we have gone through these questions. So we have 3 more questions to go based on the initial questions that you guys have sent to us over there. And if you look at questions 3 and 4, they are going to be somewhat related, right? So basically, it's kind of like, what do you do upon graduating from ISE over there? So I think perhaps we can let Prof. Ng take question 4. But before we do that, let me just quickly share a bit about question 3 over here. So for question 3 over here, we're asking what kind of jobs can ISE students land themselves upon graduation? And so if you were to just visit our website over there, visit our website. I've put a link over here under the ISEM, what is ISE over there. You'll realize that we have actually listed down the various career options that some of our alumni are working in. So obviously this is not exhaustive, but we've just selected a few just to give you some indication over there. So one thing we wish to highlight is that our graduates actually work in a wide range of industries. So you find them in business and finance. They are also in the tech companies. They are also in the government and services. So when we talk about services, we think about things like, let's say, the hospitals, but you could also be thinking about things like the hotels and the hospitalities as well. And we also have our alumni working in manufacturing. And as illustrated by Prof. Chu just now, supply chain and logistics are going to be big in Singapore as well. And in fact, I'm not sure if you're aware of it or not, but manufacturing is pretty big in Singapore as well. Okay, and so so do feel free to just visit our website to find out a bit more about what are some of the jobs that our ISE graduates have done. And in fact, if you visit our website at the same time, we actually have a listing of the LinkedIn profiles of all our alumni. So this, in fact, is going to be the best way for you to see what are the job opportunities out there. That means what will you be doing once you graduate over there. Okay, so feel free to just check out our websites, and if you have problems finding this or whatever, just drop us an email, and then I'll be happy to direct you to it. But the bottom line over here is that our graduates actually work in a wide range of industries. And the reason why we can do that is because our skill set is actually applicable to a wide range of industries over there. And so our graduates essentially can choose to enter the industry that they actually like. And so with that, let me move back over here to ask the question, to pose this question to Professor Ng over there. So what if I'm not interested in, let's say, finding a job upon graduation? What if I want to start my own business? I want to do my own startup over there. Would ISE be actually helpful to me? Prof. Ng?
Right. I think it would be very helpful. So as Prof. Chu has already highlighted in his presentation, our curriculum grounds our students on a wide set of fundamental skills or principles in including analytical, computing, economics, management, and systems thinking. So this is very useful when studying businesses, as it allows our students to take a holistic view and approach to solving problems across many different industries. So as an entrepreneur, I think one would encounter many problems, many issues, not only at the strategic level, but also related to daily operational problems that as an entrepreneur, you will have to handle all of that. So I think, exposure to solving these problems, both at a strategic level and at an operational level, will be very useful. And also, as highlighted in our curriculum, our students are exposed to working on industrial projects like SDP, which gives them opportunity to hone their soft skills, like dealing professionally with clients, managing the client's expectation, working together in a team with tight deadlines, and importantly, project management skills. So this will also be very helpful as an entrepreneur also. And then finally, as Prof. Chu mentioned also, a lot of our projects and focus is in analytics for digitalization. For example, in the supply chain industry that Prof. Chu brought that up. So this will give our students the background to find opportunities in digital transformation as an entrepreneur too. So this gives you the ability to find problems and solve these as an entrepreneur also to start your own business. So I think it is useful. And then, just taking together the skills and then leveraging them to start up something new and novel would not be a problem.
Okay, sorry, I have to unmute myself. Thanks, Su Hui, for your thoughts on that. And so we've come to the last question that we have prepared over here. But of course, after this, we'll be happy to hang around and to take any other questions that you might have. And so what are the best reasons for joining ISE? So for this question, probably I will pose it to both Prof. Chu and also Prof. Ng as well. But before that, let me share with you some of my thoughts on what are some of the best reasons to join ISE. And then later on, Prof. Chu and Prof. Ng can also give us their thoughts as well. So for me, I think that there are actually going to be a lot of reasons. So personally, I was actually, I'm also a ISE graduate. In fact, I got my Bachelor of Engineering at this department at NUS, in Industrial and Systems Engineering over there. And so back then, we were a small group and everybody was pretty close-knitted. And so we kind of know each other quite well. And so one day, one of my friend, he said that his girlfriend was complaining about him taking ISE. And so then we asked him why is that so? And so he said that the girlfriend found it very frustrating that now after he has taken ISE, every time he goes to a restaurant, he looks at the queue and then he says that there's a better way to manage this queue. Or he goes into the restaurant and then he says that, oh, the table layouts, are not done optimally. I can probably do a better job over there. So to me, that was actually kind of like the first indication that I think we made the right choice, because we have studied something that we enjoy and something that I think that's the key sign. When after you have studied something and it changes your perception of this world, it causes you to think about how you want to improve things, where you actively look at the opportunities out there. So to me, that will be actually one very strong reason why to join ISE, because the things that we learn are going to be very interesting and very applicable. So I think it's not just a matter of being applicable. If you learn something that is useful, but you don't enjoy it, you don't bring it into your daily life. So I think the fact that my friend does this is not just a matter of it being useful, but at the same time, it's also very exciting for him as well. The second thing, we are back then we were a very small cohort. To this day, by engineering standards, we are still a very small department as well, relative to some of the other bigger departments. And so that is where you realize that within our department, the students are very closely knitted. So our student club has a lot of activities, and these days, despite having COVID-19, they are going to be they are still actively trying to organize events as much as possible within our COVID-19 measures, because it's important to, they feel that it's very important for the students to interact. And in fact, the feedback I got from them is that, they like face-to-face classes, and they're asking me to put the EPP back to face-to-face as well. And I'm kind of actively looking into it. But of course, the developments in the past few days have not been very encouraging in that sense. But that's our culture over there. I think we like a small community where everybody knows everybody, and where everybody can help out each other over there. And in fact, if you look at some of our graduates over there, the market condition these days are still fairly challenging. But some of our graduates actually, how they secure their jobs is via their seniors who have actually recommended the jobs to them, and so on. So there's a lot of these networks that can help you in various ways over there. And besides talking about, let's say, the best reasons for joining ISE, I think I could also comment a bit. I'm in the outreach role, right? So I should also comment a bit about sort of like, why should you be joining ISE at NUS? So if you are interested in ISE, then probably you know that we have some competitors out there as well, right? So there are other universities with potentially similar curriculum over there. So I think it's not just about ISE, but why NUS as well. And so my response to that will be that you want to come to NUS because of our brand name. And I don't say it in a demeaning way or whatever, but unfortunately, that's kind of the way the world operates, right? And because of our brand name, we actually have an extensive network with a lot of universities and with a lot of companies. I think Prof. Chu has already mentioned about our systems design project, which is a very key important point, which allows our students to actually work with companies on projects where they show the value that they demonstrate to companies over there. And at the same time, internship is another area where you would be able to gain this type of experiences. And because of our brand name, NUS has a lot of and our department as well have a lot of connections with many of these companies out there. And so we are able to offer you a full range of companies that you can possibly join, both for the internship and also for the systems design project. So I would say that that would be one key selling feature of ISE at NUS. And at the same time, of course, the last year we didn't have a student exchange program, but we hope that that's going to be coming back. And so for all these exchange programs as well, you realize that we have a very extensive networks and connections with the overseas universities as well. And so that is where NUS is going to be able to provide you with the largest range of choices. Another thing I wish to highlight over here is that NUS is a comprehensive university with very strong programs across many of our schools, our faculties, and our departments over there. And so at NUS, you actually get a comprehensive education. If you are interested in pursuing a minor, if you are interested in pursuing a second major, this is where NUS will provide you with a lot more opportunities for you to explore these options over there. Yeah, so those are some of my key points as to what are the best reasons to join ISE and also ISE at NUS over there. So perhaps I can hand over to Prof. Chu and Prof. Ng to see if there are any other thoughts on this.
Actually, I have no other thoughts. I think what you have said, I think you have said very well.
Okay.
Yes, Jinan, I completely agree with you of what you've highlighted. Importantly, we are a comprehensive university of with Prof. Chu also highlighted, there's so many other opportunities that you can, find double majors, minors across in any different, many different fields that other universities may not be able to offer. So again, I like just to re-emphasize what Prof. Tan has mentioned, that we are a close-knit community. As a student, there will be, an exciting student life, friendly profs, and also importantly, a vast and established network of alumni that you can depend on. So I think those are very good reasons to join ISE and ISE at NUS.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Su Hui, and thanks, Prof. Chu. Yeah. And so I guess those are essentially all the thoughts that we have over there. But if we do have any other further questions, I do not see any on the chat box. But let me see. If you prefer to use the mic, feel free to just unmute yourself. You should be able to do that, and then raise your questions if any. So it's supposed to be a breakout session where we interact with you. So yeah, if there are any other questions from any of you, feel free to just share them, and then we'll be happy to give our thoughts on them. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any further questions. So if you do have any further questions, feel free to always just drop them via just visit our website over there, and then we have a list of information over there. And if you have further questions, feel free to just drop us a message on either our Facebook page or our Students Club Instagram page. So if you would like a response from the department, just drop a message on our Facebook page, and then we will respond to it. If you would prefer a student's perspective, just visit our students' Instagram page, and then they will be able to give you their thoughts on that as well. Okay.